Meeting to order, and we'll stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by 15 seconds of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Chad Melinda.
Here.
Bill Niemeyer.
Here.
Terry Reed. Here. Brian Hartley.
Here.
Ethan Maple.
Here.
Thank you. So on the agenda is public comments, 3 minutes time limit per person for items on the agenda only. All right. Claims, approval of accounts payable vouchers, numbers 26267 through 26309. Do I hear a motion to approve those?
I will make a motion to approve the APPs as presented.
A second.
Okay. The motion is approved and seconded. Is there a discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is carried to approve accounts payable vouchers 26267 through 26309. Adoption of minutes. Do I hear a motion to adopt the town council minutes from March 20th, 2024?
I'll make a motion to adopt the council minutes for March 20th, 2024.
I'll second that motion.
The motion is moved and seconded. Is there a discussion? Nope. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The motion is carried to approve the to approve the town minutes, March 20th, 2024. Old business.
I'd like to make a motion that we table item 5.1 based on our meeting last night where we received a lot of information. I don't believe that the council is ready to proceed at this time, so I would just like to table that item. So I make that motion.
I will second the motion.
Motion is second. Is there a discussion?
I would only like to ask, then what do you perceive to be the next step?
Well, I think the next step will be, Ted will present some drafts and, I think we gave a lot of input last night as far as what the priorities and
so I would
concerns
assume
were.
it's going to be tabled to, and you can make it specifically what you want to table to the next meeting or a month from now. I would anticipate having a draft sponsored by one or more of you to submit for consideration at the next meeting.
Is this something we need to have an executive session just to discuss? Chad wasn't here. I don't know if we would all want to discuss this any further on some ideas and stuff, rather than a meeting or no?
Now, unfortunately, it's not a topic that's permissible under executive session. It's just a general applicable ordinance to everybody, and so you can't do that.
Okay.
So that's kind of why we had the public meeting last night to get everybody's thoughts. We can circulate drafts, and certainly give your input on any draft before it goes in, but as far as the meeting goes, it needs to be public.
And I don't know, is 2 weeks enough time, or should we just make it a month?
I would prefer 2 weeks. I think if he can throw out some drafts to us, especially at least to get something in front of us that we can have a discussion on.
Mhm.
Not that we need to vote on it next meeting, but could have some conversation around a draft that's proposed. I think that would be reasonable.
Okay, then I will amend my motion to table the item to the next meeting.
Second the motion?
Motion has been moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
Do we, so Ted, are you looking at ordinances or changes based on yesterday's conversation, making amendments to that and presenting that, or do we need to provide direction from that?
We gave some last night, and so my only curiosity to Ted is, you know, I assume based on kind of a tiered approach, some waivers, some things like that, is there any other, I'll just echo the question I asked you last night, is there any other information for that draft that would be helpful to put those things down that you need, that we can at least give some direction, if not some specifics?
I feel like I have enough to give you
Okay.
a draft. Now, I'm not operating a vacuum, so I take it's not my own.
Right.
And so I would like your input, and so I don't want to come to the next meeting with just, hey, here it is, right? Like I anticipate, before that time, giving you ample opportunity to look over it, make a suggestion.
So the type of tiers, the cost for said tiers, feet in terms of distance from brick and mortar, what that waiver language may look like or sound like, that type of thing.
Bolstered special event language.
Yeah.
Giving us discretion, when we would like it.
So those type of things, when you send us the draft, those are the things that we could then respond individually to you with kind of those
Absolutely.
thoughts and perspectives.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right.
And you don't have to wait. You got something tomorrow you want to send me, I am happy to listen to any input you have.
Perfect.
I think the only other point that I'd mention is just the possibility of a designated food truck area.
And then there too. Now, you may want to tell me exactly the needs and bounds of that.
Right.
because-
Well, they're having a meeting this evening, so we have to wait for them to get their officers, and then I will follow up and get some feedback, and then I will definitely reach out to you.
So is this something that we want to bring to the next meeting, or is this, should we get the draft, consume that, and then a month from now, so the 2 meetings have a discussion with?
Again, I would suggest that if we get the drafts, we can discuss it. Not that we would vote on an ordinance at our next meeting, but have an open conversation and discuss it as a council at our next meeting, so that then maybe at the meetings in May, we could have a first reading and a second reading.
Yeah, you can always table it again, right? Like I think he's right. It's good to keep it fresh in our minds and keep it on the agenda to both the community and you to get something that works for everybody.
I think it's been on the agenda for a long time.
I'd rather get it off the agenda.
Making that comment
and-
in jest, but yes, yeah, we do need, if keeping it on the agenda until we resolve it is the fastest way to get it resolved, I support that.
I would hope that we could have something resolved by the end of May, so that we can move on to what's next.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Approved. What do we do?
Tabled it to the next meeting.
Okay. New business. Would everyone join me in welcoming Kevin Mandrell, running for the state representative? Is this district?
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate the time tonight. Town manager there giving me the opportunity to come in and speak to council. My wife and I, we've lived in New Palestine for about 38 years here, and just wanted to spend a couple minutes just to let you guys know who I am. Some of you I've actually got to know. Jim built my first house over on Sweet Creek Drive. Was that 1988?
A long time ago.
A couple of days back. But lifelong East Side, Indianapolis. When my wife and I got married, we've been married 40 years. We moved to New Palestine, had our family here, raised 2 children. We have 4 grandchildren. Pretty much started out as an entrepreneur, started my own firm, did a lot of insurance consulting. Started it from the ground up, literally no customers, no idea what I was doing, but you know, there's certain things they teach in textbooks when you go through business training, and then there's a lot they don't teach, and you learn by trial and error, making mistakes. So built the company up, did really well with that, was very happy with where we were headed, and a large firm from the New York Stock Exchange came in one day and decided they'd like to make a purchase of our firm. We sold that. We've done some commercial real estate. My wife and I have always loved to focus on historical areas, one being in Irvington, where we both grew up. And we converted an old IPS school building into an office building, which was extremely successful in that area, and that Irvington at that time was teetering. You wasn't really sure which way it was going to go, but we really felt like it was going to move in the right direction. We started an organization there called the Irvington Development Organization, and started getting other businesses in there. I'm sure Ryan and I know about Giacomo's, and you know, other companies started to move in, and Irvington really did take off. We also did a piece of property in Rushville. I do a lot of business in that area. I'm on the board chair at the Rush Memorial Hospital Foundation, and have done a lot of work in that area. Became close friends with Mayor Mike Pavey there. And there was another historical building there. It was the Wendell Wilkie Bank building. And again, that historical area was kind of teetering at the same time, and we made a significant investment there, and as a result of that, we've seen a lot of positive growth within that community as well. So we've always tried to focus on things as business owners that help the communities that we were involved in grow and expand, and that's kind of what we've always been about. With the businesses that I've been involved in, I've also owned a company that manufactured prosthetic limbs. I've also helped develop a software company. That wasn't quite as successful as the others were, but you know, we learn by trial and error. And because of the other things that we've gotten involved in, I've been able to also volunteer and serve. I am the board chair at Bosma Industries for the Blind. I've been on that board since 2008. I'm in my second term as the board chair there. I also serve on the national board of the Arthritis Foundation. And my mom had rheumatoid arthritis, so I got involved as a volunteer helping in the local chapter, and that developed into me becoming a board member. I also am the chair of the Budget Audit Committee for the Arthritis Foundation. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the fiscal side of that, and working through budgets and you know, just the experience that I've gained over the years, just running my own companies and being part of the community and the volunteer work that I do as well. So I just wanted to come in and introduce myself. Like I said, I've been in the community for 38 years. You know, we're losing Bob Cherry. He's been a great advocate for our community for a number of years. I think he was in the State House for 26 years. And, you know, it's important that I think we find someone like myself with the experience. I mean, we have 4 people in this race, and I feel like when you compare my background, my experience, and you measure us not on what we tell you we're going to do, but what we've accomplished, I think I hope that I can gain the support and the votes from the community, especially the town here that we've lived in for so long. So I didn't know if you had any questions for me, any thoughts that you'd be interested in asking.
If you're elected, would you help us get rid of some crazy food truck requirements? We learned last night from an owner of a food truck that the state just this year imposed some of the absolute most ridiculous requirements on food trucks, that when she stated it, at first I actually thought it was a joke. It was too late to be April 1st. But, you know, one thing that she said is, you know, she's definitely looking for somebody that would listen to her, because she's gone everywhere without having people that would listen. So, you know, and
Yeah.
she's a member of our community. She's been active at the Lions Club for years. So at some point in time, you might get a call from a person who needs some help with some, trying to bring some reasonableness to food truck ordinances.
There you go. Well,
Of all
Councilman,
things.
you actually touched on a topic that did come up last week in our little debate forum that we had at the library in Greenfield, and it's basically around home rule and Title 36. And I do a lot of work with municipalities. Ryan knows me quite well from the work I do for Hancock County. I work with Jason here in the township. Title 36, home rule, I've talked to a tremendous number of commissioners and mayors around the state that are clients of mine, and they want to maintain control what goes on in their communities. And I firmly support not legislating from the state house what you have to do locally. I believe our commissioners, mayors, town managers, council, knows what's best for their own communities there. So as a state rep, if I represent District 53, just know that I support the home rule and Title 36 as well. So it's a good point. I don't know how the food trucks work into that, but
Well, I learned for the first time that a food truck cannot prepare food inside the truck,
okay.
which I don't know how it can be then called a food truck, but the state has mandated locations where truck to be served, or food to be served in food trucks has to be prepared at certain locations for whatever silly reason, but I couldn't believe that when I heard that.
Yeah.
And
So-
only 2 items can be fresh.
And, oh, yeah, and no more than one meat item. And I didn't think hot dogs were perishable. But,
Like Twinkies, right?
I learned,
okay.
I learned some things last night about food truck ordinances at a state level, or food truck statutes at that level that I couldn't believe existed.
Well, I'll need to learn more about that. Again, I'm sure you guys have gotten a few of my mailers at this point. You've probably gotten a few text messages. Some of you follow me on social media. I love input because I am not a politician. I've been doing this less than 90 days, and I take a lot of guidance and input from people that I trust. And for the most part, the campaign's worked really well. I was telling Ryan before the meeting started, my wife and I have knocked on 1,400 doors. And you hear a lot of things that are, interesting. I'm going to be, it's a scary time in our country, but we live in the greatest country, and I believe we live in the greatest state. And but there are a lot of concerns out there in our communities. People are worried about the future. And but I love input, so you guys know where I'm at, and I would love to hear. And again, I've been very fortunate not only getting into this race kind of last minute, but the people that have publicly come out and endorsed me. I've done well with fundraising. I've gotten some pretty big endorsements from very credible, national organizations that believe I'm the most conservative, less government, less taxes than the other 3 candidates I'm running against. So I'm very fortunate for a lot of the endorsements that I have gotten. But when people like Senator Bevgard speak out, or Mayor Chuck Fuel, 4 of our prior commissioners, our past sheriff, and a number of other people have publicly come out and endorsed me. People can write you checks and support you financially, but when people put their name out there and they say that's the person I want to support, I can't begin to tell you how much that means to me and my wife, because I really carry that seriously. I want to make sure I always do what's best, not only for myself and my family. It's the same way I ran my companies. When I had employees that worked for me, it wasn't just the decisions I made that affected my family, but it affected the families of every employee that I had. And you take that responsibility seriously. So I hope I earn the respect of this town council. I've had some positive discussions with a few of you already. I want to represent New Palestine well, and I hope that you guys are proud of the race I run, and that I can gain your vote and your respect there and support. Any other questions? Thank you. Food truck's it, huh?
It's hot on our mind.
Well, anyway, I appreciate your guys' time and look forward to any discussion. You guys, you know where I'm at. If you need anything, like I said, don't hesitate to reach out.
Kevin, I wish you the best of luck.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you so
Appreciate
much
you
for
too.
coming
Good
tonight.
luck.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the RDC report. Michelle Davis is here from Cronin Associates.
Hello, I'm Michelle Davis. I'm with Cronin Associates. I'm sure all of you already heard my spiel, but I will give it to you again. So I think you have the RDC reports in front of you. Yvonne, you guys all a copy. I'm going to go to the third page, Appendix B, and that is the cash flows from 23. So it's required it's a new requirement that we present this report to council now. You don't have to make a formal vote on it, we just have to present it, the activities. So for 23, we started with around $50,000 in the redevelopment account, I'm sorry. And then the increment was about $447,000, which is a little less than the year prior. And that's probably likely due to your tax rate falling. It fell 38 cents from 22 to 23. And then you had a bond payment due in February and August and total for the year is about $200,000. No, total for
Each payment is
each
about
payment-
200.
Yeah, sorry, each payment's 200,000. So you ended the year with around 280,000. But you had a bond payment. You have a bond payment due a couple months after that, and so you really probably around 80,000 left in the fund that can be used for other things. So the next page, Appendix C, is just a snapshot of your debt, what the RDC has. They have two bonds. One was in 2020 for the Wellness Center, and then 23 was the COVID. You have not paid any principal on either one of those. You should start receiving some more increment to pay down some principal here in probably the next few years. And I can entertain any other questions about the report or any of the debt.
So when does the money come in? So if we have another one due in August, we won't go in negative until we get the money that comes in, right?
That's right. We'll get
July.
another distribution in June and then later in December.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the June distribution will cover the August payment that we have.
Yes.
And then the way that the principal works is we've got to build up some of those funds in order to pay the principals.
So right now we're paying just capitalized interest on it. And I believe on the first one, you keep the first 25,000 that you
Right.
can build into the fund. And then
Yep.
if the increment doesn't support the payment, then the developers just don't get paid back on the hospital bonds. And I believe that's the case with COVID as well.
Okay.
And Michelle, will the COVID be added to Appendix D at some point in time?
It should be on there. It's the very bottom.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just looking at the top. I didn't see the.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that one they haven't started, I don't know if they started building yet, but they haven't added it to their property record card yet, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chad, what was your question?
I got it.
Okay.
I was missing Appendix B and C in the printout, but I just pulled it up on it. So the total revenue was 447, expenditures at 217, so that leaves the balance at 280,000, sorry. When would we start paying on the principal of those?
Well, looks like it's another year, maybe 2 years out.
Okay.
So,
The COVID's in 26, that's when we're, like the August payment, that's when we should start paying a little bit of principal. I'm not sure on the 2021.
on the Wellness Center, it'll be another year or two before we get there. So every year, you have to pay your interest. Well, initially, there was interest due, but there was no tax money coming in yet to pay it. So we're trying to catch up, and this is where we're at. So for the Wellness Center, we get to keep $25,000 for each tax payment that comes in, so twice a year. So the RDC keeps $50,000 in their coffers for projects around town. When we get to Bakovic, that deal is slightly different. We get to keep 25%, and 75% of what comes in goes to pay the bond and the interest on that. So, and then any future TIF deals that are created, those rules will be different each time. But the money comes in June and December, and I pay the bond when it's due, which is after that.
Thank you. So we should start paying principal, very small amount next year, and then it'll start to.
That's what I'm
Got
thinking,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Thanks, Michelle.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next up is New Palestine's Main Street. Julie Lewis.
Hello. Hi, Julie. Nice to meet all of you. I'm here this evening. Summerfest is coming up quickly after this thing they call an eclipse on Monday. But Summerfest will be June 21st and 22nd, and we have applied to close down US 52 again for the festival. I've talked with Ron Lancer, who is with NDOT, and he was a construction engineer that we worked with last year, and he's still on project this year. And he doesn't see any reason why there would be any projects that would prevent us from having a closure. We've submitted our detour map. Chief Ely has provided the police letter that they require. We've submitted our signs that we have to have. And the last thing that we need is a hold harmless agreement signed by the town council. And this was signed last year. They just have to have it on file each year so that the state's not held liable for something that we would do or not do properly. So I have a copy of that. I also provided one to President Terry Reed. So I would just need a signature and approval to proceed with that, if that so be.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion has been carried. Do I hear a discussion?
Ted, with this, that basically prevents the state from being liable for anything, so we would assume liability for that, correct?
Not necessarily assume liability, just should it off the state.
We're just okay with the state not being liable.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And Main Street carries a general liability policy, so we have ourselves covered, but as we all know, attorneys know that anybody can be named in a lawsuit and it doesn't matter, but the state just wishes to not be included in any liability. So they want us to sign up on that.
It doesn't mean you're any more at fault, it just means they're less at fault.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks for the clarification. Thank you.
Thanks.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Julie, what role do you have with Main Street?
I'm the president.
So with Summer Fair coming up, are you at a later date, or would you like to ask the council to approve it as a town-approved event now, so you can move forward with plans related to that?
That would be great, so we could just save time. I'd like to request that the town approve for us to have a special event, June 21st and 22nd. And we would have vendors starting to set it up at 7 a.m. and our festival would open that evening. And then we would have the road open again by 9 a.m. on Sunday.
Thank you. Carrie, I would like to make a motion that we would approve Summerfest for those 2 dates and their planned activity as a town-approved event, and how that could affect other aspects moving forward.
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Is there a discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried to approve the special event, Main Street's going to put on Summerfest, June 21st and 22nd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you still have the form, or?
I picked up the wrong folder. It was in another folder.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Compared to the second.
Do you need that signed and taken with you now?
I just need to submit it to NDOT soon, so I can get it at the end of the meeting, or, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll sign it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Legal updates?
I am diligently working on this.
It's not ready yet?
That is all I got.
That's enough. Department reports. Town manager.
Yep, I have a couple things. It all kind of surrounds about planning. I've been attending the first meeting with the steering committee with the Thrive Center. They're working on a quality of place plan for the county. Basically, they're taking all towns and cities and trying to look at a way to brand the county. So it was a good meeting. It's HWC is the engineer on this project, and it should be finished in November. There's several meetings throughout the year. Like I said, this week was the kickoff, and this will go up till November. So I plan on participating every chance I get, and I think Yvonne, if I can't make it, she's going to step in to represent the town. So I think that's good that the county, that actually helps with our comprehensive plan, which is my next subject. We had our request for proposals. We actually had 3 proposals that came back by March 20th. The way I have it set up right now is the proposal evaluations and interviews. We had April 9th. I would probably say anytime after April 9th as a council. I'd like to ask, do you want to do that like in a public meeting with all 3, or is that something that, how would you like to set that up?
Are there any restrictions to that in terms of?
We've actually, with our engineers on the wastewater, we actually did an interview. It's a little difficult. You want to make sure that one's not here and the other one's, so. But
If it's a public meeting, they could stay if they wanted to?
basically, it's they come up and they represent themselves. They represent the proposal they've given us, and that's, then you can take that under advisement. It's not like you have to make that decision in the public meeting, by no means. But it's a good time to, yeah, I think it would be, well, that you get to meet each candidate.
Exactly.
So just off the cuff here, HWC was one of the responses, and then the other one came from GRW, and the other one was, what was her name? Volt Strategy. So they range anywhere from $48,000 to $58,000, which I thought the prices were pretty good.
When they submitted to you, can those be sent to us?
I'm going to, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I have these. I'll make sure I get these sent to you. You guys decide how you want to do the interviews or meet with them, and we'll set that up. But I'd say anytime after that, April 9th, not before.
Is there a window you want that to happen? Prior to May, or like what's your window?
Well, we just want to make sure we get it rolling because, May 1st, I kind of had it on there, Planning Commission confirms the selection. Whatever the selection was, we would take that to the Planning Commission and have that meeting and then kick it off from there. We're trying to get this done in the year scope here, so.
So you want us to meet with them prior to our next meeting then, probably?
Or just a little after, yeah.
Should we meet with them, should we have a 6 o'clock meeting with them
We could. That's,
at our next meeting?
we could do
On the
that.
17th?
Yeah. And I'll stagger them.
And should we make that a public meeting, or should it be an executive session?
It has to be a public meeting.
Jim, what's the scope of work again?
Oh. Such as, but
It's a comprehensive plan.
it's the comprehensive plan, yes, the request for
Professional
proposal.
services.
Yeah.
have to look. I don't think that that's necessarily an executive session topic.
Right, well, I mean, public is better.
I'll verify it for the next meeting. If it is, that'd be great. You can interviews, there are certain interviews that are subject to executive session. Not sure. But
I say to avoid confusion, we just do it at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock next, as a public meeting.
Yeah.
17th. Okay.
And I'll get this sent to you, you guys can look it over, and I'll stagger their times.
How much time will they need?
15 minutes tops, yeah, yeah.
Is that it?
That's it, yep.
You know, spring is sprung and it's spring cleaning time, I know at my house. I have like 4 addresses that I would like to go over with you that are atrocious in town here, so
Yeah.
see where we are on some of those.
One last thing, speaking of spring, our Easter egg hunt went off. I tell you, it was storming that morning. I thought, oh, we're going to put out 2,000 eggs, not one kid show up. We're going to pick up 2,000 eggs. But like every year, the weather broke, and here comes the fire truck with our Easter bunny, and kids showed up, so it was a good time. It was a really good time.
It looked fun. I drove
Yeah.
past there, but I couldn't stop because I had chipped my front tooth and I was on my way to the dentist, so.
Yeah.
How many kids did you have, do you know?
We had a lot, yeah. Seemed like we had
Yeah.
about as much as the following year, but,
Good.
I would say between 200 and 300.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I tell you, the reactions of the kids, but the parents, they're just very thankful when they're getting their prizes and stuff. They all have something nice to say about the town putting this on, so it's fun.
Well, thank you to everyone
Yeah.
that put that together, and I know that we had to stuff the eggs and all that, so.
Yep,
Yeah,
Maybe in a few years, we'll be able to have it in town.
that would be
yeah,
great.
that'd be
Yes,
right.
that's the
Yes.
goal.
Yeah, yeah.
Jim, how did the meeting go with the engineers about the town center? I know you were meeting with the
Oh,
engineers.
yep, we did. We met with USI. It went well. It was just kind of an introduction meeting. They will put out a preliminary plan. Right now, I think Patriot Engineering, they've been on the property to do phase 1. It's possible that they might not have to do phase 2 from the phase 1 study.
I think he means the Commonwealth meeting.
No, he said town center.
Town center.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so USI was, selected from the owners. They're going to represent them, and I think probably within about 30 days, we'll be able to come back to the town council with a new concept plan that's going to probably identify more of a generalization of what it's really going to look like and kind of start from there. Next Thursday, I'm meeting with Duke Energy about the utility poles on 52. That's going to be kind of a long process, the utility side of it. So,
Jim, with that, I got an email asking it, and I don't remember the area north of the railroad tracks.
yep.
Is kind of, for better word, a dead area. Was there any plan for anything there, or is it isolated right now? Just not-
Right now, I think the energy's going to be on the south side.
So there's no immediate plans for that? It could be future plans?
Yeah, they do own it. We've thought about, whether it be some kind of a park or, right now, it's just difficult getting to it. The access over the railroad, and then we have to work with Duke Energy because there's a parcel of property that, we need to obtain just to kind of get to it. So it's a tough piece, but it was just it was a buy all or not, so,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Jim, if you need any help with Duke, I have a pretty good relationship with them too, so.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Those contacts mean a lot, believe me.
Ryan knows it.
And maybe not the next meeting, depending on how much time, but I've never introduced the GIS system that we have here at town. We kind of brought that on, and we're starting to populate. That's the hardest thing, is putting all the information in it. I think it's going to be a great tool. Kyle's done a good job with all the sewer aspect of it. I mean, he's taken a picture of every manhole out there. He's flipped the lids, so when we look at that, that's a tool that we can always use, for our inventory and things like that for grants in the future. But like the trash and stuff, when we have problems with yards, we can also use that because it lists everybody's address on there. We can identify those homes, and it's something that, as you could send me that email, we could populate it on GIS, take pictures of it, and keep all the reports there with it. It's a good tool. We just got to figure out when we can start diving into all that information, because it could go forever. So
Yeah, I've used that. In fact, some of the pictures of those houses have the trash on the porch, so.
yeah, yeah. You used the county GIS. Yeah, yeah.
Was that one?
Beacon.
The Beacon.
Yeah, we have our own GIS. So yeah,
It's called Silversmith.
Silversmith.
Oh, okay. Street commissioner.
Yeah. Well, I think the last meeting where we left off was we were talking about what we wanted to do about an ordinance as far as who is responsible for city sidewalks. I've been putting together all the data I can, going around the different subdivisions and areas of town, doing visual inspections of sidewalks, kind of giving them a rating like you would a PACER rating for a road. Unfortunately, I was out most of last week, so that slowed me down a little bit. I know, Ethan, you had a question at the last meeting about could I get some information on like specific towns, like what their ordinances were, and I just kind of went and Googled and got different towns, different sizes of towns, and what their ordinances said. They're anywhere from size of Bloomington and Evansville to Kokomo to little towns maybe you've heard of or whatever, Ashley, Parker City. It seems like I have 12 here. It's just a small sample size, obviously, but it seems like maybe 60% of these towns are stating in their ordinances that the repairs are the responsibility of the abutting property owner. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One town, Battleground. Town shares cost of first repair. Subsequent repair falls entirely on the abutting property owner. Portage, street department provides the labor and the abutting property owner pays for the cost of material. Evansville, it's a pretty good sized town. They do a 50-50 split, but the work is done based on available funds in the town budget. So as you can see, there's probably as many different ordinances as there are towns. I think they just all sort of tailor them to their budgets, what they're comfortable with as a town, what their street department can do as far as helping out the labor end of it.
So are you talking about, are those towns talking about like in town here? Or does that encompass like the housing additions that have HOAs?
It would be subdivisions. It would be, they're just essentially the same thing. They're going to be a city walk where we may have a right of way, but then the abutting property owner, they're saying that the sidewalk is their responsibility. When it snows, they go out and shovel them. The towns don't. If they start to fall apart, or if there's a lift of an inch or more, they're going to be responsible to take care of it.
I did pull up some of the plats of the neighborhoods around here and look, and subdivisions that are put in now, but the responsibility of the sidewalk and the homeowner. the subdivisions around here don't state that. So it is gonna be the town's responsibility. A lot of the ones in the county, you know, it's a responsibility of the HOA to fix those sidewalks, and it says that in the covenants. But in the covenants of a lot of, well, every neighborhood I pulled up in New Palestine, it doesn't say that in the covenants, that it's responsibility of HOA. So it looks like it will fall on the town, unfortunately,
Unless we direct it otherwise?
unless we direct it otherwise.
That, which would be in the form of an ordinance. Right.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I saw it heading.
So I don't know, moving forward, you know, if with any development, if we want to, the CCRs, what's that acronym for, the covenants, restrictions, and those
ECR, easements, covenants, and restrictions.
ECRs, okay. Okay.
Or bylaws. I think the bylaws would be a more appropriate place for a homeowner association to have that provision.
And that's maybe something that we might want to look into as well, you know, when they're drafting those, say, this is something that, you know, you're gonna have to set aside money in your HOA for sidewalk repairs.
It'll be a smart move.
Or maintenance performance bonds.
Yeah. I have talked with Yvonne. She said that there are funds in the, was it the LRS? That there were some
Yes.
funds
Local roads.
available. If and there were a few sections, I rated them very, on a very basic rating, like a 1 to 3, 1 being a worse hazard, you know, like a 2-inch, you know, separation in a sidewalk, where I feel like that's something that the town could definitely get in there and take care of sections like that are obviously in need of repair. The little 1/2-inch sections or cracks or things like that might get a 3 rating, which is, you know, that's just what concrete does.
Steve, do we have the manpower to have any of our crews fix that, or is that something you would contract out?
It would be contracted out, and I've gone, and again, I've used NDOT prices, and, you know, these aren't NDOT contracts, so the unit prices aren't necessarily what we're gonna get from a contractor. Obviously, if a contractor has to come in and do a typical section, say is 4 by 8, which would be 2 panels of sidewalk, with using NDOT unit prices, you know, you're talking about a total of a little over $600. Well, if he's only doing one section like that in a subdivision, a contractor's not gonna do it for $600. But if you can give him 5 to 10 sections like that, he probably could. Yeah, he's got his equipment out there mobilized, his manpower out there, tools and everything. So the more you can take care of in the subdivision, the better deal you're gonna get per square yard or square footage.
Ryan, do you know a guy?
I do know a guy who does.
I was gonna answer for him.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, he knows a guy who knows.
But that's another prime example with our GIS. We can actually go out, I've had Steve, we'll go through, take a picture of these, get the cost of it, and then we can look at that, how we want to manage that, you know, maybe take a little bit this year, a little bit, you know, and we can kind of take them off our system as we go. We can visually see it, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's something we could put, Yvonne, maybe, you know, 20 to 25,000, you know, a year in for sidewalk repairs.
Let's look at that before I say yes.
Right, exactly.
I think that'd be a smart move, though, just make a budget for that. A maximum amount you want to spend on that a year.
Yeah.
Set that aside and start from the worst to the best. So,
And also, whenever we have community crossings projects, we tie in ADA ramps with that.
Right.
And those contractors are out there mobilized, have all their equipment and manpower. I can say, hey, let's hop over to this subdivision. What would you charge to take out X amount of sections and replace them? So.
Yeah, I think in my mind, it kind of comes in two pieces. One's like snow removal, those kind of things. Second is like fixing the infrastructure, right? And maybe that's where we focus on the ordinance piece of saying, hey, you know, we're not gonna have the crew come out and, you know, shovel every sidewalk in New Palestine. It's probably a little more than what we have the ability to do. But using the GIS system, rating it, we could say, hey, here are the three or the ones that are out there right now. You know, whatever the budget, Yvonne taking care of us and making sure we don't sign up for more than what we can chew. Says, hey, yeah, we can use funds to go after those, and that way we're doing it in a concerted or planned effort instead of, hey, somebody says this one's bad, yeah, we use a different system for it.
Can we work within language of an ordinance that when it gets to a certain level, it is a requirement as a hazard to the community? So if it gets to whatever that worst is, that it becomes a hazard and needs to be replaced, and however we do that, whether it's a split with the abutting property owner or whatever, that split is on a timeline.
Yeah.
In other words, if we go out, identify a problem sidewalk, then, you know, we communicate that to the homeowner, or hopefully a homeowner would communicate to the town if we have funds available, but we'll help if it's taken care of within the first, you know, 30 days or 45 days or whatever's reasonable, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that we're handling it.
For the most part, we have really good sidewalks. We have some areas, but you know, I've been to Marion County. Some
Right.
you have to climb over. You know.
Well,
so-
and Ethan, I want to just caution, be very careful about "we shall" within a certain time period, because when that doesn't happen, you've just exposed the town to liability with that kind of wording. So
Well, and I
I
don't
like
know
the
if
we
we do it,
prioritize.
or we reimburse it, or however we choose to do the ordinance, because we could also do it from a reimbursement standpoint, couldn't we? That if the homeowner takes care of it, we reimburse?
You get into too many problems on it.
Yeah,
My buddy did it, you know, he charged me $1 million.
Well, and cut out the corner.
Yeah.
It seemed a little complicated.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But those are things that we do need to think about in coming up with an ordinance, so that
Yeah, and maybe even leave words like, you know, as far as liability reasons, like hazards out, and just like, this is a
they're
crack
just
sidewalk.
prioritized
or,
on this rating system.
Yeah.
Could you pick a couple of those ordinances that you think are probably the better ones with your knowledge and shoot those to us so we can kind of look at them and digest?
Sure.
I think, you know, other than Ryan, who either knows about it or knows a guy, the rest of us are gonna
I know
have
plenty,
to.
I've been in the concrete business for 30 years, I know plenty of concrete guys.
Yeah, but to me, it's how do I look at what you, with your expertise, think is a good coverage of what we should do? Obviously, I think we would have to do something different, but something that matches our size or what you would suggest.
I mean, obviously, the best for a town or any town is gonna be, you know, leave it to the abutting property owner, but then, do they have the money to fix it? Does it get fixed, you know? But, I think a fair thing is, some type of a split, you know? Or we can just
We
go
could write
in
something
and budget
in
a
there
certain amount of fix
as
it.
approved too, right? Because the
We
other
want
thing
it to a
that
certain standard.
scares me with the liability is, hey, mine's a 3, you should come fix it right now. Well, you know what I mean?
And we don't want somebody going to Lowe's and buying a bag of mixcrete, doing it themselves and saying, ta-da, and, you know, it's gonna be a mess in a month.
And you know that could happen.
Absolutely. So, again, see what's out there, see what you recommend, and if you would share it with us, and
Sure.
we'll put our spin on it. Thank you.
That's all I hear.
Thanks, Steve. Please, Chief.
Well, Yvonne had a great idea the other day for me. We have run into a new drug that we've come across in some of our stops. It's called xylazine. So, Mr. Representative, when you take it to the State House, it's a tranquilizer. It's coming through animals, like horses, cats, dogs, and they're mixing with the drugs. We have no way of finding out what it was or how it was until I took it to the state police lab. So we have some opioid money that we've been sitting on. So we have found the test kits not to be able to test that. So if you do take an opioid mixed with this xylazine, our Narcan that we carry with us will not affect it. So it's a bad deal. We haven't seen anybody overdose. with this mix, but the last person that I have that's sitting in the jail right now had, they call M30s. It's a pressed pill with fentanyl, xylazine, and acetaminophen. So my officers have been very careful because we've recently really learned a lot about it. Double gloves, masks, everything, but just glad to say that she said we had opioid money, so it didn't cost me any of my budget. So if you guys come across anything at home that doesn't look normal, your kids bring something to your family, man, please call the police. Let us come out and take a look at it. There's some bad stuff out there right now. Moving on from that.
Real quick with that,
Yeah.
Chief. So is there the test kits?
So these are test strips we're getting.
So that helps them identify, that helps officers identify.
Right, so we're still just as cautious. We come up on any traffic stop, we've seen unknown. Honestly, on when I first saw what I had, it looked like hydrocodone. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm charging this guy because he doesn't have a prescription for it with a Schedule II narcotic. Get it back, put it in my little container, take it down to State Police Lab. And the gal says, well, I hope you were careful with this because I guarantee this is fake. And I go, oh, it's hydrocodone. It's got the pressed imprints, all the stuff on it. Sure enough, she brought it back. It had fentanyl, xylazine, and acetaminophen. So,
Just a pill form that you touch and it can harm you?
yeah, well, they actually feed necrotic to your skin.
Oh my gosh.
So they call it trank, they call it like the zombie drug. It's bad stuff. So I really hope it doesn't make it into this community. It did about a month or 2 months ago when we finally got him. Granted, this person did not live here. This person was passing through, and we got him on a traffic stop. But still, it's the possibilities there. So I really like for my PIO and my guys that go to the school a lot to try to educate the school over there a little bit more on this. We now have the test kits coming for this, so we also know the problem is just to have this xylazine is right now first offense is only a misdemeanor or a hate misdemeanor offense. Get caught a second time, then it becomes a felony. So when you get to the State House, if we can bump that up to make it a little more harsh to have this on the streets, because you know you can get it so cheap, and it's not right now considered a controlled substance. So I think they just passed something in the House, or the state passed something, one of the bills, that it's going to become a misdemeanor and then second offense possibly a felony. So they're aware of it, but if anybody sees it, pass on to family members, make it known. It's not a good thing.
Bob, did this look like a pill that was over the counter? Looks like it had been professional.
It looked like you got it sent from your doctor or whatever.
There's pill presses going on.
Absolutely. Greenfield just took down a big one not too long ago, and they got the press and everything. So I mean, there's just minor details in the pills that look just a little different. I didn't notice it. You know, of course, I had the other thing that I knew what it was. This, I was like, oh, I don't know what this is, but I'll still have a test, and I'm glad I did, because it was bad stuff. So it kind of changed his charges as well at the state level. So just a caution for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
And also in front of you, this is the part I don't like. These are quotes from Waymire Fleet. They are the company that does our upfitting for our emergency lighting for our police vehicles. You see you have two actually separate quotes there. One is for the K-9 car, and one will be for the other squad car coming in. It's supposed to be built in start to build in August, probably arriving in mid to late September. We have money in the budget for this. We knew what it was going to cost. We do see the K-9's quite a bit different, and the reason being is the kennel's not cheap. We have to put the safety factors on the kennel for the dog, so it's got the emergency fan, the hot pops, the door pops for the officer. So that's the difference in the pricing there. Other than that, everything is identical. All of our cars are pretty much put together the same way. So if I jump in your car, it's going to operate the same way my car does. So, and we use this company because they guarantee everything. Sean, a couple of his car parts went out a couple weeks ago, drove downtown, put them right in front of the line, fixed the stuff, and he was back on his way. So very reputable company, been using it for many, many years. I don't know anybody else around close to Indianapolis that does as good work as they do, and for the price. So this is completely outfitting a car from nothing to all the lights, all the sirens, all the switch boxes, the consoles for the vehicles, and of course the K-9 kennel for the one vehicle. And the reason I got in front of you tonight is I need to get put on the list. I don't need this yet, but I need to be able to go back to this gentleman at Waymire and say, council's okay with this, go ahead and get us scheduled. And then when they're ready for us to have the car there, he can order it when he's ready to get it ordered, so we're not playing tag all the time. So I think right now too, my prices may go up for the next couple of months. So kind of hoping we kind of lock these prices in if everybody's okay.
Are these locked in if you get
If you guys approve, I can lock it down, call them in, and I get my prices locked in. If not, I could wait 2 months. It could go up $20, it could go up $300. I don't know.
And you say it's already, we have that in the budget.
They're all in the budget. So we have $23,000 lined out for all the emergency lighting for these 2 new vehicles, and we knew we were going to pull some money out of the canine fund to pay for the canine kennel. And the canine kennel is a little bit bigger than he's had in the past, because what we'd like to be able to do is have 2/3 kennel for the dog and 1/3 kennel for the transport. And basically it becomes a safety thing, so we can actually lock that individual in a kennel where he can't get to the officer, he can't get, the canine can't get to him, he can't get to the canine. It's kind of a prisoner transport cage as well. So for him, we don't want that bad person sitting in the front seat with him when he's trying to go down the road and control. So
I like that a lot.
I do too.
Yeah. And the canine fund is a donation fund. It is not
Yes.
part of the budget.
So yeah, we would use up all of the budgeted money for the emergency lighting and take the extra out of the canine fund to cover the rest of the kennel costs.
Seems like everything on here, we get a discount from the MSRP.
Absolutely, yeah.
The only thing we don't is some of those canine pieces and parts. Is that just because it's a specialty and
Specialty,
you don't
yeah.
carry it all?
Yeah.
So basically, Officer Batten's more expensive than everybody else.
He is. He's a special guy.
That's what that's beyond the
That's why we're having the golf outing.
That's why we're having a golf outing.
There we go. Having the golf outing. Who wants to help out?
Okay.
So I asked from council tonight, and you don't have to tonight, just the quicker I can get approval to Waymeyer to get us put on their list, the better it is to lock in our rates and to get us scheduled, because, was it last year, I think it was, we're like, hey, we're ready, and I'm like, yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
Because then I
It
have
took a long
probably
time.
30, 40 other squad cars from other communities that are coming in, and so if I can get on his list, and he knows when he needs to order it, and we can kind of work with Kelly Chevrolet when our vehicles are actually going to come in, maybe get it done a little quicker, because Sean's was almost the end of the year, wasn't it?
It took a very long time.
And it's just part of the business too, but it took a long time.
I would like to make a motion to approve Chief's request to schedule the upfit of both these new vehicles.
I'll second that. Oh,
The motion is moved and seconded. Is there a discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried to approve Chief's request for all of this stuff.
Yes, thank you, council.
Thank you. Thanks for explaining that. Thank you, Yvonne, for clarifying plans.
Bob, are you as ready as you can be for the eclipse?
Everybody will be here. Yep. Well, I thought Jim said that all the employees are going home at noon.
We are.
Everybody won't be here except you.
I know, it's going to just me. No,
Are the
guys-
highway signs done? Who's doing the highway signs I'm seeing around? Like the directions to 52, directions to 70, is that?
I saw that. Yeah, I don't know who put those up.
The county?
Yeah, I don't know.
They're just little
Yeah,
arrows,
they're doing
52.
I might have something to do with that.
I know a guy.
Somebody
You may not know a guy, he may be the guy.
There's a lot of signs out.
Chief, with this, we know it's going to be traffic and all that. Is there, and we don't want to publicly say this officer's going to be here, but do you guys feel like you've got a good plan, the support you need? Is there anything that the council could do to help you guys? I know that it's
No,
going to be
I truly
all hands
think
on
we're going to
deck.
be good. I mean, we only got a half mile to a mile and a half to really truly worry about. We really want to keep 52 open enough, that at least that center turn lane for emergencies, so if the ambulance has to roll. So we're going to escort people if we have to. If we have to get to an emergency call, we're going to have guys going to be designated, hey, you're going to be the runner for the fire department, or hey, you're going to, we've got plans in place, yeah. So our whole department's going to be here. I think county's got extra officers coming in. I think fire department brought an extra shift in. So best we can. Unless you can give me 20 more guys tomorrow, we're good.
Well, you told me it takes longer than that.
It does take a long
Train,
time.
so.
It does. But no, we are set to go.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Good luck on Monday.
Thank you.
Clerk Treasurer.
Two quick things. Annually, we have to update sam.gov, if anybody's familiar with that. It's a federal website that we have to update yearly in order to be able to get federal money into the town. It's completed. I about lost a year of my life trying to do it. Life and tears.
No, there weren't tears, but it was close. It's so frustrating, but it's done, just so you know that that's completed. The only other thing I have, I issued a solicitor's and peddler's permit this week. We have Jake's HVAC and, I'm probably saying it wrong, but HVAC and Electric. It's a company out of Knightstown that is going to go door to door and put a door hanger on doorknobs. Bob did the background check. They ticked off all the boxes. We've got their bond information, their insurance information, and contact information. They're not knocking on doors, but they will leave door hangers. They've got a map, including the 2 neighborhoods in town that they're not allowed to go because it's a no soliciting neighborhood. So all that information is there. They should carry their paper that I signed, emailed it to them, and that's happening this Thursday and Friday. They have a permit for a week, so should the weather be really bad, it may end up into next week. Seems like very easy to deal with these people. We've gotten requests for this before. In the 4 years I've been here, I've not issued a single other solicitor's permit. You know, everybody should get a solicitor's permit if they're going door to door, for whatever reason. Even the churches are supposed to come. They will try to tell me that they don't need this, but I send them the packet, and because in our paperwork it states that they too need to come and get their background checked out. We don't want people knocking on our doors and, you know, in our homes that we don't know are safe to do so.
Keep that in mind for Halloween.
There you go. They're not.
We'll declare that a
or
special
peddling anything. So, but that's all I've got for you.
Are they giving us a discount on our HVAC?
We can ask.
Will. I sure
You will not get a door hanger.
You should.
Because you're in a no soliciting
Still
neighborhood.
ask.
Anything else? Okay. Public comments, 5 minutes. Anyone?
Canine, regular.
Chris Mormont, Cedar Creek Lane. Just two things. One is during the Plan Commission, Ron made reference to this advisory council that we've been, we had 3 meetings last year. And for the new council members and for members of the community that were not involved in the last 3 years or last year or so, I just want to very briefly frame what that problem is, that concern is. Copperstone, which is up the street here on Gym Road, built by Lennar, they sold 20 to 25% of their homes to a corporate landlord in the fall and winter of 2022 and beyond. And that company is owned, 7% of that company, Lennar, is owned by BlackRock, which is a big Wall Street investment firm. And BlackRock has recently purchased Tricon, who owns First Key Homes. First Key Homes is who bought 20 to 25% of the homes from Lennar. Brand new homes right out of the box, et cetera. So that's the concern that we've had several meetings on last year, 3 meetings last year as an advisory council. Kind of bring that problem home. There is, an individual that I've become friends with that lives in that community. He bought his home in June of 21, purchased it for about $400,000. And that house, a similar house, the same type of amenities, 25% larger, was sold for about the same price to this Wall Street firm. So that's a very difficult pill for that person to swallow. So those are the kinds of things, and I guess, Kevin, that's an issue that we struggle with as a town. How do we beef up our ordinances to prevent that going forward? There's some ideas that we have for the kind of road bumps. So I know other states are looking at this issue, and
if that's something that could be a winning issue for you. In fact, if you want, I'll go with you some afternoon, we can knock on some doors, we can play Copperstone. We'll probably get 400 or 500 votes up there, because I can tell you everybody in that neighborhood is
Get a
is very
solicitor's
disappointed.
permit.
So,
Get a solicitor's permit.
yeah, right, yeah. Those 1,400 doors you knocked up, that you have a solicitor's permit.
I don't know how political require that or not. I guess I could, check it.
The last thing I wanted to, Ron's going to add anything to that? Okay. The last thing I wanted to say was, just want to talk about Kevin for a second. Kevin's involved with all these things that he mentioned, but when I first left Lilly, started my own engineering consulting business, I rented commercial space from Kevin in that space in Irvington, and he was a great help to me. He understands how difficult it is to start a business from scratch, and he really helped me out. So publicly, I want to thank Kevin for that. 12 months free internet to start with. I mean, you know, you let me use your fax machine back from packaging for a big deal. Your conference room, professional liability insurance, I was having problems getting that. And he went to bat for me and found me some contacts, and I was able to get that insurance and get one of those first big contracts that I couldn't get without you. So I appreciate that, Kevin. And Kevin is, so long as he's a successful guy, successful businessman, but he's a good guy. So I'm definitely going to have to help the campaign now that your stock is going down. I'll endorse you.
No, you're fine.
Thank you. Let's go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? Council comments. Mr. Hartley?
I want to thank the public for showing up last night, and I think it was a good meeting, constructive, gave some direction. I want to appreciate their patience for working with us on this food truck stuff. Kevin, thank you for coming. Best of luck to you. Hope everybody stays safe for the eclipse. Bob, let us know if you need anything.
Ethan?
I will echo Ryan's sentiment about the public coming out, but also appreciate that we are a council that all of us are hopeful for transparency and conversation and listening to suggestions and ideas so that we can best serve you all. Reminder that this Friday is our next chat with the council, and Bill and I will be at Dry Bones at 8 a.m., just a few doors down, and so just an informal opportunity to have conversation about what's going right, what's going wrong, less what's going wrong. But no, just a good opportunity to connect with community. So we'd love for you to check out Dry Bones Coffee Shop and join us for a conversation. I want to throw out there that the New Pal Education Foundation has their gala coming up on the 12th of April. So a great way to connect with those who support teachers and educators and our students in the community. If that's something you'd like to participate, I know that there are still tickets available. And just congratulations to our robotics state champions. We had some state champions at the high school level, and I had one excited boy who was part of that team. 4 high school teams made it to Worlds, and if you are in a position to want to support any of those teams who are making it to Worlds, there is significant fundraising going on for the next few weeks because it costs about $10,000 per team to go when you take in registration fees and the cost of travel and expenses for families. And so that's $40,000 for just the high school. And there's a few other teams in the district that made it to Worlds as well. So that's a good cause for you to engage in. That's all I have.
Thank you. Chad?
I haven't sent Yvonne very many emails in the past 7 days, so I kept them all here. I'm just joking, but quick, Yvonne, the $19,994.20 on the RDC piece for professional services, does that cover Cronin Associates and the bond management?
Yes.
Thank you. Echoing everybody's comments about the town's involvement in the food ordinance, I know it's a hot topic and one that is continually brought up, but thanks everybody for being part of that discussion. Sorry I missed it, but I've heard quite a bit about it. Thanks, Mr. Mandrell, for coming and speaking with us and your willingness to step up and serve our community. I know it's not always an easy thing to do, to say, hey, I'll do it, and then do it. So wish you best of luck in all of that. So thank you very much. Thanks to the town for putting on the Easter egg hunt. The town employees, I think, do a lot that is not in their job requirements for the betterment of everybody that lives here. So thank you guys for doing that. Also, love the cutout. It's awesome. Looks great. We now have an accessible area over here, so we'll figure out how to use that to the best of our ability. But I appreciate your guys' help doing that and getting that done. So.
Today we cleaned out the space, got it all set up, and we already had the first person that needed the space today as I was vacuuming and cleaning in there to wait for a police officer. So it's going to be fun.
That is awesome. Cool.
That was an added room for private conversations.
Yeah, just for everybody's knowledge, there's times where people come in and want to have a private conversation or speak to one of the officers, and they sit right here in the lobby and wait. You know, our officers aren't just sitting down waiting for something, so we have to get them here and all that. So it was a great idea brought up by the town. So thank you guys for making that happen. And Chief, do we need to get some security in there?
We got a camera
Got it.
getting put in.
Okay.
And the rave button is operational.
Awesome.
And Scott's putting in the camera sometime this month.
Perfect. Great.
So, and the space is also used when we need to notarize things. We've gotten to the point where we notarize a lot of things. It isn't always comfortable for a family to be in here and discuss private things with whom, like Jenny or Nyla notarizing things. We shouldn't be hearing that. They should have private space, and that's what that room will be used for.
Thank you very much. Yvonne, can we, and this is probably a question for Ted as well, can we as the council authorize to do something? I think the eclipse is a once in a lifetime situation, but we are basically asking our whole police department to not participate in that. I know we're letting people off work. Most works are shutting down, schools are closing, and they're all going to do some extra work.
They'll get overtime.
They'll get overtime, and I appreciate it for that, but is there some way we could buy them dinner or something like that? Is there a special process we have to go through
I
for
don't
that?
think that that's necessarily in the rules from the state, but you can declare it a holiday, give them a holiday pay. I don't know how that would work, but their holiday pay, they get, if they work on a holiday, the police officers get $100 stipend. So I don't know if we can designate this.
You would have to, if you want to give them a stipend, we could do it one time, like salary ordinance, to give them that. Because it is considered pay.
So if it was declared a holiday, and so is the stipend, that's automatic because it's already in the salary ordinance?
It's already in the salary ordinance.
Are the specific holidays in the salary ordinance, or just holidays designated?
No, it just, the salary ordinance specifies that for a holiday, they get that stipend. The handbook, the employee handbook states specific dates or specific holidays.
I guess my issue would be if we just made it for police and no other town employees, that would be an issue. If it's a town-sponsored holiday, we're going to give it to everybody.
The other thing we can do, I'm happy to buy the police officers lunch at the barbecue place or whatever, and they can walk in and get it whenever, and I'll settle the bill afterwards personally, not for.
I'll take care of my guys.
All right, just stop.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Well, get crafty. There's a lot of rules we got to make sure we're following. Thank you, Ted, for keeping us in the straight and narrow. And, yeah, tried. My bad. That is all I have.
Just go like
You sure?
I might think of one later, but that's all I got right now.
Well, we missed you last night. I'm glad you made up for it tonight. Bill?
Well, I want to jump on the bandwagon and also thank the town employees, the Boy Scout troop for helping stuff the eggs, the fire department for their continued support for the Easter egg hunt, and also all of the volunteers because it was a good event for the community. I also want to thank Kevin for taking time to come to the meeting and make a presentation and to do so, you know, in a public forum. Again, thank you. Also, another, in my opinion, very commendable event happened on Saturday, March the 30th. Councilmember Chad Molinder was promoted to the rank of Major in the United States Marines. And that is a level of service and commitment that deserves to be publicly recognized. So please join me. And I wanted to do so because Chad would have never mentioned that. But it just so happened after the Easter egg hunt, I went into the Round the Corner pub for lunch, and the ceremony I was able to observe, as were every other patron, all those who were invited, those of us who weren't. But very, very, very commendable. So congratulations, Chad. That's
Congratulations, Chad.
Hold on.
Thank you. Well, I'm sure everybody's ready to go home, so I just ditto everything and thank everybody, and I wish you well in your election. And thank you again for coming this evening. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I will make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Motion
Yes.
approved?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay.